If you've spent any amount of time on LinkedIn over the past couple of years, you've probably seen post after post claiming that AI is changing learning. People are talking about AI agents replacing entire teams of instructional designers, AI building personalized learning experiences at the stroke of a well-crafted prompt, AI automating needs analyses, and AI completely transforming the future of L&D as we know it. And you know what, honestly, there's a good chance that some of those predictions will become reality one day. But you know what? After hearing these claims for the past couple of years, I started to wonder something. Is AI actually changing how people learn, or is it changing something else entirely? Because when I look around our industry, I notice something interesting. Instead of talking about learning, we seem to be talking a lot about AI-generated action figures, AI infographics, vibe-coded games, and you know what? Every other week, there seems to be another post showing off the latest AI parlor trick. And you know what? Don't get me wrong. I love experimenting with AI just as much as anyone else. In fact, I've built entire e-learning projects using AI tools right here on this channel. But I can't shake the feeling that we're spending a lot of time talking about what AI can build and not nearly enough time talking about what AI is actually changing. So I decided to investigate. I spoke with instructional designers, L&D leaders, and practitioners across the industry to go beyond the hype and understand what AI is actually changing and, more importantly, what it isn't. Because, you know, if AI is really reshaping our profession, I don't just want to understand what it's changing. I want to understand why it matters and what those who work in this industry need to know in order to keep up. Now, before we dive in, I want to thank the folks at We Are Learning for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to go deeper into the ideas that I'm sharing in this video, I've partnered with We Are to put together a free ebook that expands on the concepts and includes additional examples and practical strategies you can apply with your own L&D team to keep up with the future of AI. You can download my free ebook with the link down in the description. So, let's go back to the question we started with. What is AI actually changing? Well, you know, I think most people would answer that by saying AI is making learning better or more personalized or more engaging. But after spending the past couple of years experimenting with AI, I don't think that's the biggest change at all. The biggest change I've experienced is much simpler than that. AI is dramatically changing how training gets produced. Think about a typical instructional design project. For years, the process looked something like this. You'd spend a little bit of time talking with your stakeholders, figuring out the problem, and deciding what you wanted to build. Then you'd spend weeks, sometimes even months, actually building it. Writing content, creating graphics, recording narration, programming interactions, testing everything, fixing bugs, and going through an endless round of revisions. And finally, after all that work, you'd launch the training and hopefully spend whatever time was left evaluating whether it actually worked. And if I had to simplify that process, it probably looks something like this: 10% deciding, 80% building, and 10% evaluating and improving. Now, compare that to what AI makes possible today. Instead of spending weeks building the first draft, you can generate one in minutes. Need a different visual style? Generate another version. Want to rewrite the content? That's no problem. Curious whether a different interaction might work better? Well, try it. The cost, both in time and effort, of producing version 1 has dropped dramatically, and that changes the entire workflow. Instead of spending most of our time building, we can spend far more time on the front end deciding what to build in the first place and evaluating on the back end whether it's actually solving the problem we're trying to solve. Suddenly, the workflow starts looking more like this: 40% deciding, 20% building, and 40% evaluating and improving.
I see that my people could then think a little bit more about, like, okay, who is the target group here? What is actually needed for that training? Why we want that training, you know, to put it up to like a little bit more on the strategic level, and it's easier to maybe try to understand and see that's bigger picture.
Now, I want to be really careful here, because this is where I think a lot of people jump to the wrong conclusion. The story isn't that AI makes instructional designers faster or L&D teams more agile. The story is that AI makes production cheaper. And those are two very different things, because whenever something becomes dramatically easier and less expensive to produce, it stops being the thing that creates value. Think about photography. Taking and sharing high-quality photos used to require expensive cameras, specialized equipment, and technical expertise. And today, nearly everyone carries an incredible camera in their pocket. Photography didn't disappear, but the value shifted away from simply taking a picture and towards knowing what to capture, why it mattered, and how to tell a compelling story with it. And I think the same thing is happening in L&D. The hardest part isn't producing the thing anymore. The hardest part is deciding what's worth producing in the first place. And I think that's the shift we're starting to experience in our profession. As AI makes training dramatically faster, cheaper, and easier to produce, production itself becomes less valuable. Instead, the value starts moving somewhere else, towards asking better questions, towards making better decisions, towards experimenting with more ideas, and towards evaluating what's actually working. In other words, the future competitive advantage isn't production, it's ideas and judgment.
I think we need to look upon it as a tool, but it's an extremely powerful tool. So it could do a lot of things that I could with my former team of 100 super talented, more or less artists. But if I am not the good person to ask for those things, or understanding what I'm looking for, or able to describe whatever, it doesn't help.
So, if AI is changing how training gets created, what does that mean for learning itself? Well, here's where I think a lot of the conversation around AI starts to go off the rails, because people often use the words learning and training as if they're the same thing, but they're not. Training is something we create. Learning is something that happens inside another person's brain. And while AI is changing almost every aspect of how we create training, it hasn't fundamentally changed how people learn. People still learn through practice, through feedback and repetition, meaningful application, and through connecting new ideas to what they already know. Those principles haven't suddenly disappeared because AI exists. And honestly, I think that's the good news, because it means the things that make someone a great instructional designer or a great learning professional, those things still matter. And in fact, they may matter even more.
Yeah, you get what you put in, and I think even the questions that you ask yourself, or that I've asked, can be biased, and it can point AI into the wrong direction and give me something that confirms my bias and isn't the right answer. So you have to have that critical thinking, you have to have that domain skill, your own skill, to identify that that's not the correct answer.
AI doesn't magically improve instructional design. It accelerates whatever instructional design already exists. That's why I don't think the future belongs to those people who can generate the most content. I think it belongs to the people who ask the best questions, the people who challenge assumptions, the people who know when training isn't actually the answer, and the people who understand performance before they ever start thinking about content. Because if shift 1 taught us that production is becoming abundant, then this shift reminds us that judgment isn't. As AI continues to lower the cost of creating training, the value of the human shifts even further upstream, away from production and towards diagnosis, creativity, experimentation, and ultimately solving real business problems. So far, we've talked about what AI is changing for instructional designers and L&D teams. We've talked about how it's changing production, and we've talked about how it's changing where humans create value. But I think the implications are even bigger than that, because organizations aren't investing tons of money into AI simply to build training faster. They're investing because they believe AI can fundamentally increase what their organization is capable of doing. And I think there are actually two different shifts happening at the same time. The first is capacity. Capacity is fairly straightforward. It answers the question of how much work can we do? A 5-person L&D team can now produce more content, build more prototypes, translate more courses, and support more business initiatives than they could have just a few years ago. AI gives individuals leverage. It allows one person to accomplish more than what was previously possible. But I think the second shift is even more interesting. It's about capability. Capability answers a very different question. What kinds of work are we now able to do that simply wasn't practical or possible before? Think about what's happened over the last couple of years. Today, a relatively small team can generate high-quality graphics without hiring an illustrator. They could produce polished video without a production studio, translate learning into dozens of of languages in minutes instead of weeks, build interactive web experiences that previously would have required a team of developers, and rapidly prototype multiple solutions before committing to a single direction. Those aren't just productivity improvements. Those are entirely new capabilities. And once an organization gains those capabilities, its expectations begin to change as well. When your first prototype can be generated in 30 minutes instead of 3 weeks, it's much harder to argue you don't have time to explore another idea. When translating a course takes minutes instead of coordinating with an outside vendor, it's much harder to argue that localization isn't possible. When building an interactive proof of concept no longer requires months of development, it's much harder to say, we just never got around to trying it.
If you look back on things that you did, which could take 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 months, whatever, it was so hard to turn and go back. It was so painful. You have, like, let's say you go down a path and you understand after 6 weeks that the idea is not holding up that good. You would never dare to say that, right? You would just pull it through. But now that's kind of a couple of hours now. And you can easily pull back and say, you can easily test it if you like.
Now, I'm not suggesting that every constraint disappears because AI exists. Budgets still matter, stakeholders still have deadlines, and organizations still have competing priorities. But many of the production constraints we've relied on for years are beginning to evaporate. And with them, some of our excuses disappear as well. Because if production is no longer the primary bottleneck, then experimentation shouldn't be either. And I think that's the real shift. AI doesn't just increase organizational capacity, it expands organizational capability, and it changes what's possible. And once something becomes possible, it has a funny way of becoming expected.
If your organization rewards things like the amount of courses you produce, they're going to expect so many more courses. But if you lead with results, I think they're going to expect more results. They're going to respect more impact to the business. People are going to see you even more so as a part of the business. People will come to your team and invest in your team.
Very soon, stakeholders won't be impressed that you used AI. They'll simply expect that you're using it to deliver solutions better and faster and with more confidence than ever before. Because ultimately, the L&D teams that succeed won't be the ones with access to the best AI tools. They'll be the ones who use those tools to learn faster and experiment more often and solve problems better. And if that's true, then perhaps the biggest opportunity for L&D isn't adopting AI, it's helping the rest of the organization realize what's possible with it. So, let's go back to the question we started with. Is AI actually changing learning? I don't think so. At least not in the way most people are talking about it. People still learn through practice and feedback and repetition and through meaningful experiences. Those principles haven't changed. What has changed is how quickly we can create training and we can create those experiences. How many ideas can we explore? How many solutions can we prototype? And ultimately, what can organizations reasonably expect from their L&D teams? That's why I don't think the biggest story of AI is automation. I actually think it's abundance. That's why I don't think L&D teams should be asking, how do we compete with AI? I think they should be asking, how do we become even more valuable because of AI? Because AI can generate content, but it can't own the business problem. It can build a prototype, but it can't decide whether the prototype solves the right problems. It can produce thousands of ideas, but it can't determine which of those ideas matter the most. And that's still our job. And honestly, I think that's exciting, not because it makes our work easier, but because it gives us the opportunity to spend less time producing and more time thinking, less time building and more time solving, less time worrying about the mechanics and more time improving performance. I think the L&D teams and instructional designers who thrive going forward will be the ones who understand people, who understand the business, who ask better questions, who experiment more often, who are willing to challenge assumptions, and who use AI not as a shortcut, but as a way to explore more possibilities than ever before. Because, in the end, AI isn't replacing learning and development teams, it's relocating where and how those teams create value. And if we embrace that shift, I think the future of this profession is far more exciting than most people realize. All right. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about how AI is changing the work we do in this industry, use the link down below to check out my free ebook I wrote in partnership with my friends at We Are Learning. I'll see you around.